There once was a man named Gold Roger who was king of the pirates. He had fame, power, and wealth beyond your wildest dreams. Before they hung him from the gallows, these were the final words he said.
Our perspective is yours for the taking, but you'll have to join us first. We left everything we debated at the Yonko Table.
Ever since, pirates from all over the world set sail for the Grand Line, searching for the Yonko Table, the table that will make their dreams come true. Yo, everyone. The Yonko Table is back in session for another expedition into uncharted territory for another treasure hunting adventure. That's right. We're talking Uncharted, the movie, based on the video game. 2022, baby. We're here to talk about the Uncharted film released by Sony and directed by, I don't know who the director is, but starring
Ruben Fleischer.
He was the
I think that's how you pronounce his name.
Right. Ruben Fleischer at the director's helm, and Tom Holland and Mark Wahlberg portraying the titular characters of Nathan Drake and Victor Sullivan, quotation marks Sully. But you hear him with me as well, folks. We have Yonko GrandMasterHoop with us today. We went to go see the movie together, and I don't know. I got a lot to say, man. But do you have anything as like our segue into like an intro? Like what do you think?
I mean, well, we're going to get into the nitty gritty, but just, there's a level that video game adaptations need to meet when it comes to appealing to the fans of the games, but you cannot sacrifice that for an actual story that qualifies for a movie. And with that said, if you can't execute either, well, then here we are.
Yeah. I mean, was this a surprise? Was this like a genuine surprise over, like, okay, you're right. There is an expectation for an adaptation based on any property, right? Whether it's like an anime, a show, a book, a video game, no less. But video games in the film industry usually have a bad rap for being terrible. And it's a mix of the two things that you said. They can never tell their own story that sets them apart from the other competition. And sometimes at the same time, they deviate from what made the series so great for the fans of the video game. And that's been a thing for a long time with video games. Recently, in recent years, we've had some, adaptations that break the mold, and they're nothing spectacular, but for the most part, they're pretty decent. They're I would say even good, great. And the first one that comes to mind, and there's like maybe one or two others, but for me personally, Sonic the Hedgehog.
The Hedgehog. Agreed.
That movie, fantastic. And that's me going in with low expectations, thinking, oh man, it's another video game movie. Oh God, it's gonna be terrible. But no, it excelled at that. So that right there showed me this can work. If you can make a movie based off of a CGI hedgehog running at breakneck speeds, anything else is possible. No more excuses. So Uncharted fails to meet all those expectations. It really does. It really does. I mean, this movie has been in production hell since 2008.
Jeez, 2008?
Since 2008.
I didn't know it was that long ago.
It was that long ago. Mind you, Uncharted 1 came out in 2007, if I'm remembering correctly.
Yeah, that sounds right.
Or 2006. And despite, because the fans, including myself, we're not really fond of Uncharted 1. It was okay. It was the foundation, whatever.
the pilot. The pilot.
It was the pilot season. And
right.
It got so much better after that.
Oh, leagues.
So much.
The gap between 2 and 1 is exponential.
Exactly. So despite my distaste for Uncharted 1, by many, it was still considered a critical and financial success, which kickstarted the rest of the series. Based on that success, in 2008, Sony and I think maybe Columbia Pictures was like the original like production company. They're like, we got to do a movie on this. This is literally Indiana Jones and Tomb Raider mixed together. We have got to make a film. We've got to. And ever since, multiple directors, different writers, different actors to portray. At one point, Chris Pratt was on the line to play Nathan Drake.
Oh no.
Oh yes. Oh,
I
yeah.
wouldn't. Oh, I see it right here. You're right. Absolutely
yes.
Not. No.
He declined. He declined saying, no, I am not gonna be a part of this. And at one point, Mark Wahlberg, who plays Sully in this movie, was originally slated to be Nathan Drake.
Yes. I remember when that was first announced, and even before it was announced, everybody kind of had an idea that Mark Wahlberg would be a good on-screen Nathan Drake.
Yeah,
you know, he looks the part kind of, and I'm sure he could have pulled off the role too.
He has the charisma that he shows in other roles in other films. That is literally what you need for a Nathan Drake a character if you're gonna be adapting that. So I can see Mark Wahlberg playing Nathan Drake. Now, mind you, as the years went on, Mark Wahlberg's getting a little bit older. You got to have a fresh face on the main character. So his role shifted to Victor Sullivan, which he doesn't even fit Victor Sullivan too much either because he's not that old.
He's
Victor
not
Sullivan's
that old. Victor, right. He's not that old. He's supposed to have a mustache, which does make a brief appearance.
Don't even get me started. That was weak. That was weak.
It was like, why throw it in the what? I'm not okay. We'll come back to it later, but
we will.
It's like Mark Wahlberg fit, yes, the Drake character more than he did the Sully. Why didn't they just find someone else? Why do you have to keep Mark Wahlberg on this project? Unless Mark Wahlberg was like, and I guess this shows his commitment is that he didn't care what role he played at this point. He was you know, all in for getting this movie off the ground.
Right.
So,
and kudos to him. I guess
kudos to him.
A fan of the series, he has to be if he stuck around this long.
I think he is somewhat of a fan. I just saw him on Jimmy Kimmel mentioning, you know, you didn't have to be a fan of the games to watch this movie, and I took that as, oh, maybe he's played some of the games. Right. To a degree to where he can say that.
Maybe he's played 2, maybe 4, you know.
Right. Just
remember,
just enough confidence. Right. Enough confidence to say you don't have to have played the games to watch this movie.
Right. And I mean, you know, to an extent, each of the games, like, you don't have to play the previous one to play the next one, because they're each their own individual adventure. Kind of like Indiana Jones.
Right. The only connectivity is really just the characters themselves.
Right. And their relationships. Like, oh, okay, they were together in this game, but now they broke up in this.
Right. And that could be, you know, that's any movie that you could just put the pieces together.
Right.
And still have a quality story, no doubt.
Exactly. So. And funny enough, I don't know if you're familiar with him, but Nathan Fillion.
I remember he was always
I don't think officially he was ever on the talks to be Nathan Drake, but the fans kept pushing him to be Nathan Drake.
Isn't there a fan-made film?
There is a fan-made film where he plays Nathan Fillion plays Nathan Drake, and he nails Nathan Drake. Because you know, I was aware of the film beforehand, and then after seeing the movie, I was like, wait, who was like originally supposed to be Nathan Drake? And I remember Nathan Fillion. I watched the fan-made film again, and it made me dislike this movie just a little bit more.
I'm probably gonna watch it after this.
I'm telling you, It was perfection. It was, mind you, it's budgeted. It's a fan-made film. You're not going to see the explosions or, craziness from Uncharted. But in terms of portraying the character of Nathan Drake, it's like they plucked him straight out of the video game and just put him in live action. Which
I feel should not be that hard of a challenge to nail Nathan Drake. He's kind of just this really intelligent, like into history and archaeology and all this, but he's just kind of a bumbling kind of guy. Like he's an everyday guy, he's got charisma, like you said. He's got this, cool swagger to him, but he's not like the coolest dude in the room.
Right. And he's almost self-aware of it too. Like, he kind of knows. He kind of knows.
Right.
And we've been alluding to it, right?
Yeah, we're here. We're here. We built it up.
We built it. We needed to lay the foundation, the context as to what we're about to get into. Tom Holland as Nathan Drake. Now, originally, he was announced. We all love Tom Holland, right? Like, for great Peter Parker, great Spider-Man, all that jazz, whatever, right? He's great. But when you compare what he's supposed to be for a Nathan Drake, that raised a lot of eyebrows, right? Because then the question was asked, well, wait, Tom Holland's really young. Like, is this a younger Nathan
really
Drake?
Young.
Right. And then, the more we got into production, we realized, okay, so this is gonna be a Nathan Drake, or like a younger Nathan Drake that's just getting his journey kicked off. But I guess I'm willing to accept that, like, okay, fine. Sony wants to start from the beginning. If this blows up into a franchise, let's give an origin story and let's work our way up as opposed to how the games did it originally.
You can milk Tom Holland. He can grow into the role.
Exactly.
And Sony's got him on lock. So
yes, they do not want him to leave. I think didn't you say like yesterday or something that the director wants to do
he wants to do Jack and Daxter, and Tom Holland expressed wanting to play Jack.
Oh my God!
You just trying to be the jack of all trades at Sony, huh? All right, yeah.
Like that. I like that. That's nice. He is. I mean, well, let's dial it back, right? Tom Holland's thinking ahead of the game. Oh, I'm gonna play Jack and Daxter. No. How did he portray Nathan Drake in this adaptation? Mind you, there are some elements I feel like he did okay.
Mm-hmm.
And that's where it stops. He did them okay.
Yes.
Other elements, that is not Nathan Drake. Why is Tom Holland stealing from customers while he's working at a bar, making a decent living and wage?
Look at me, I flip a bottle.
Why is he that smooth and have that much swagger? That is not Nathan Drake. That's like a James Bond. James Bond can do that, but not Nathan Drake. That's the problem.
Watching Tom Holland versus playing the games of Nathan Drake. Nathan Drake is fun. He's a funny guy. He's makes these like almost like dad jokes when it comes to stuff. And he's quirky, but he's like still like somewhat smooth, but he's still bumbling. And he cracks smiles. I'm not sure. And again, this might be because they were portraying a younger Nathan Drake. I didn't see many cracked smiles from Tom Holland.
He smiled a couple times.
But I don't know. His whole demeanor for me, the whole movie did not fit the Nathan Drake demeanor.
It was like this.
Yeah, it was super stoic the whole time. Yes, it was just like that. Now, yes, Uncharted does have serious moments, but I just feel in the film, Tom Holland didn't get across that this guy really enjoys what he does as far as, treasure hunting and solving ancient mysteries,
Right. He has the knowledge, he shows he has it. But that's just like textbook stuff. Like, oh yeah, Magellan blah blah blah, sailed, you know, the entire world, but not really because he went to the Philippines. You know, he has the knowledge, but that fun aspect that you're mentioning in the games, it really shows like whenever Nate is like solving like a puzzle or like this next cryptic piece of the next step to getting the treasure, you can see he's like a child, like again in like a playground, like
Yes.
he loves this, he loves doing this stuff. Tom Holland, bless his heart, I'm sure he tried to elicit that, but I didn't see that in the film. Like it was more like what's the next clue to open this door? Well, the ancient Egyptians, there's no Egyptians, but I'm just saying, like or
Yes.
Magellan said in his book that blah blah. You know what I mean? Like it was just very like matter of fact. Like let's move things on. Let's get the next clue. Let's not have fun with what's being said or what's happening.
Agreed. And you know, if they're building a franchise, maybe we are going to meet a more reserved Drake in this film. Maybe that's what they were going for, because, you know, he's grappling with, you know, the loss of his brother and, you know, he's been alone for a while.
He can't trust Sully yet.
He can't trust Sully, right? So maybe the cards being dealt in this film cause him to be kind of less fun. But even with that said, yeah, he should be a kid in a sandbox jumping for joy when he finds that ship. You know, like give me like a, oh right, yeah, there it is. I can't believe it. Sam and I were right. You know, something like that. But it's more like, wow, there it is. Like,
and he has that moment when he touches the ship. He's like, "We did it, Sam. We did it." And I'm like, okay, I can take that, but where is the joy? I need to see a little bit of joy. That's, oh man.
Right. I think he just maybe might have played too much into the role. And also, and you know, this is the problem when a studio reuses an actor, the actor is trying to break typecast. You know,
ooh, that
maybe
is important.
Correct. Maybe if Tom Holland gives too much joy in the performance, people are gonna see this is Peter Parker on an expedition.
Right. That's,
you know.
Oh, okay. I didn't even consider that.
Yeah, I mean, I just think about it like, I mean, the characters are similar. They're both very nerdy. They're both very intelligent. Just, you know, one's more science, one's more geology and geography and archaeology. Two different fields, but like, I don't know. I'm not sure Tom Holland broke the mold in this role. Like, it just felt to me he was a very serious Peter Parker almost.
Right.
And you know, and that's a little unfair. We did just come off like no more than 2 months ago with Spider-Man No Way Home.
Right.
So, you know, that's really fresh in, you know, when you have Tom Holland in mind. But I don't know, man. He didn't separate it enough for me. Like, I watched this film and I was like, I don't see the range. And this would have been a really good chance for him to show some range. And I didn't get it. And maybe that's because how they wanted to portray Nathan Drake on screen in this film. I don't know. I didn't get it. I was not satisfied.
I'm just not, because I think, you know, they in the last couple of weeks, like they recently revealed that Tom Holland wanted to, I don't know how far back ago this was, but apparently he wanted to pitch a young James Bond film to, I'm guessing MGM, because MGM owns the rights to James Bond.
Yes.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
Right. So somewhere along the line, Tom Holland was like, hey, I want to play a young James Bond. This is the idea I have for a James Bond that's in his younger years. Do you guys want to do it? Obviously that was not picked up. MGM's like, that's stupid.
Right.
MGM said that, not us, MGM. Because
not us. Yes, not us.
MGM said that. So, but then somehow that trickled down the line from MGM to Sony, realizing, oh wow, a young James Bond. You know what that reminds me of? Nathan Drake. So they injected that, I guess, that whatever Tom Holland's pilot was for a young James Bond into what the portrayal for Nathan Drake was in this movie. And I see it because, again, like being a bartender, being very suave, and being like a little bit of a pickpocket. I know James Bond's not a pickpocket, but it's just, I don't know, man. I didn't need a one-to-one adaptation of Nathan Drake from the video games, but there's certain elements of his character that you just cannot change, because that is his character. That's him. That's what makes him him. Nathan Drake was a pickpocket when he was like 10 years old, I think in Spain or Italy, like somewhere in Europe.
Wherever the hell he was living, where Sully picked him up. Yes.
Right. And he was an orphan. He was living on the streets. He needed to steal to survive. Nathan Drake in the Uncharted movie is working what seems to look like a decent bartending job, and assuming that's his apartment that he goes to, that apartment is pretty nice. It's okay.
Pretty nice for a kid who's been on his own his whole life. Yes.
Exactly. Correct. Exactly. So when I see Nathan Drake pickpocket people, all I'm thinking is, wow, what a piece of shit. Like kind of, yeah.
Like,
this girl did nothing to him. She's new in town. I thought she was gonna play a bigger role because, like, they almost emphasized that a little bit early on. Like,
well, they just kept coming back to her. It's like, okay, now you're just kind of following this girl around. Maybe she's working for Sully or something,
Turns out no. Which, I mean, was that a thing? Like, or no, it wasn't, right?
No,
because
just
Sully was there. But
they just kept bringing this girl around, but then it's just for him to steal this bracelet, and that's it. That was it.
That was it. And
maybe that was confirmation for Sully to be like, oh, that's Sam's brother, because he can swipe that bracelet off that girl.
Look at his bartending. Sam could do that.
That's Sam's brother, all right.
He asked him if he wanted in, like literally just based off of that information. Because he did he quiz him first on any like expedition or historical trivia first? Because I know he did later on when he broke into Sully's apartment and he saw the map and he saw it's authentic. But before all that, he was asking Nate, yo, are you all in, kid? I got a big job for you. Like, based off of what? What did you see?
Right. Yeah, no, nothing. Name recognition and a swipe. That's it.
I mean, so what is it, right? Sully worked with, okay, so there are moments of the movie that pay homage or adapt segments of the Uncharted games. And I think that was probably the best route to go, despite me originally not thinking it was a good idea, because people expected an Uncharted movie to just adapt one of the games, if not the first one. But this time, for this movie at least, they took segments from almost every game and just mashed it together to make their own idea, which is good for a film because you don't want to go into a movie and know, well, this is how the game plays out, therefore this happens at this point, this happens here, plot twist at point C, and then so on, and then this is the ending, right? You don't want that, or at least I don't want that.
No, I didn't want that either. You don't give yourself enough liberty if you're going straight, shot for shot adaptation of a video game plot. I think the best way to do it is to bring in, multiple elements from multiple entries and just follow your own narrative that you want to tell, but staying true to the heart of the games.
Right.
And I don't want to keep comparing. Sonic the Hedgehog did a really good job at that.
No, you should compare it, because to me that's the standard. You've shown that this is possible, and you've shown it with something that I think is a much harder to do.
Much harder, yes.
Like it's Sonic. Like, that is so much easier to mess up, both in terms of the CG, the fantasy element of Sonic. Like, oh, do we adapt like the comics or the video games or the cartoons? Like, there's just so much more to mess up with a Sonic the goddamn Hedgehog movie.
Right.
With Uncharted, Indiana Jones, Tomb Raider.
The formula's been done before.
It's been done.
It's been done before.
It's been done. And even if you don't want to compare it to that formula, the games are an amazing template to just adapt in terms of like how to portray the character, what journey to go on, how to set the action sequences. Oh, we're gonna get into the action sequence.
Well, here, let's start doing this. Let's talk about Sully and Nate, their relationship. I don't think they got that right.
Really?
No, because there was too much distrust between them to where it was like
fair, but meeting him for the first time,
for the first time, yes, but I guess they were trying to make that the central heart of the whole film was this back and forth. And I don't know if I necessarily liked the back and forth between, is Sully going to betray him? Is he ever going to trust Sully? I don't know. Right. I think you just kind of miss some of that fatherly figure that Sully plays for Nate, especially early on. And again, they pick and choose what they want to use from the games. That's straight from Uncharted 3, that opening sequence where you meet Sully and Nate. Well, I mean, we don't see them grow together, but from that initial one, Nate kind of trusts Sully and appreciates Sully doing whatever he did.
Baited him with the brother aspect.
Yes.
It makes you think Nate in this stage is 25 years old because he said he was 10 when he was little, 15 years later. You would think he wouldn't just be baited that easily, but then again, it's his brother. It's the only family he's ever known. So maybe that's why he just became that gullible. This random guy comes up to him and says, that brother you never seen for 15 years, I know what happened to him.
And that's the other thing I don't like is that card right there that Sully pulls. I don't think that's Sully's character.
I don't think he would do that.
Yeah, manipulating this boy, trying to get him to find his brother, knowing his brother is dead, just so he can get help getting this treasure.
Well, originally, I mean, I don't know if this was a play that Sully was doing, but he didn't know that Nate was not in contact with his brother because when he showed either the postcards or no, the photographs, when Sully showed Nate the photographs of his brother, that's when he asked him wait, you haven't talked to your brother in the last 15 years? And Nate's no, he hasn't. I have no idea. So maybe there was that aspect where maybe again, but you can't tell because you don't know how far Sully was manipulated. You don't know if he was playing a character oh, I didn't know that you didn't talk to your brother ever, because or if he was telling the truth, because later on in the movie he says, yeah, Nate, your brother would not shut up about you. He talked about you all the time. But we don't know that's a character either. We don't know if he's lying about that. I don't know, man. There was an element to that, I think, in one of the Uncharted games where I think it was maybe Uncharted 1, maybe, where we didn't know Sully yet. And he kind of had this, he has the mustache, he has the cigar, he has the raspy voice, hey, Nate, let's go get some treasure. He he has that level of distrust initially, right? Because we've seen that character before and we're I don't know. I feel like he might betray you at some point. You never know.
Yeah, I think I remember that feeling in the first game. It was from
one of them. Yeah, I think it was the first game. I think it was the first game.
And then by the end of the first game, you're like, okay, he's not betraying you ever.
Right.
Yeah, I don't know, man. I think they didn't nail their relationship. Now, I think there was an inkling of it at the end of the movie. In that mid-credit scene,
the end credit, with the okay,
when he had the mustache,
okay,
that felt more like Nate and Sully. It's Sully, you're late. He's hey kid, don't rush me. That
that's I can see it from there.
Right. I wish there was just that in the whole movie.
Right. I guess you explaining it kind of clarifies that a little bit now, because now that I think about it, right, there was a level of distrust throughout the entire movie, but at the same time, I wasn't seeing that fatherly element to Sully's character, because that is Sully. Sully's a father figure to Nate.
Yes,
that's just how it is. So I don't know, man. They're well, that's another thing. Their chemistry. Did you feel like, despite you disagreeing with them, like how they portrayed Sully and Nate, like did you think Tom Holland and Mark Wahlberg had good enough back and forth somewhat in terms of like banter?
I don't know. Mark Wahlberg just felt like Mark Wahlberg. I didn't feel this was Sully. I just felt it was just Mark Wahlberg. So
okay.
with that said, it's easy to bounce off of Mark Wahlberg, but I'm not here to watch Mark Wahlberg playing Mark Wahlberg. I wanted to see Mark Wahlberg's Victor Sullivan. So I think Tom Holland and Mark bounced off each other fine, but I'm not into the characters they're portraying bouncing off of each other. You know what I'm saying? Like they acted fine opposite of each other.
Right.
But I was not invested in the characters themselves.
You wanted to see a Nate and Sully back and forth, not a Tom Holland and Mark Wahlberg back and forth.
Exactly.
Okay.
But again, if this blows up and we get a sequel, I would like to see them do better. But that's me thinking really far ahead. This movie just dropped. I mean, the theater was pretty, like,
it was
decently packed.
Yeah, surprisingly.
Yeah. And it is exclusively in theaters too, so people have to go see it. So
the box office numbers are not looking good.
I mean, I wasn't.
I looked it up last night. I mean, again, you know, COVID, all that stuff. And it's not on streaming services, so its money is supposed to be made in the theaters, but I don't know about its box office. But based on its budget was surprisingly very high.
120 mil, yeah, that's pretty high.
Exactly. And then when you see how much they made, at least, and you know, the number's always changing, you know, it's getting updated, but I'd imagine, based on the number I saw last night, I don't see them breaking 50 mil for the weekend. For the weekend.
Oh, for the weekend. Okay.
Right.
Okay. Fair.
Which that says a lot. That's not good.
It does. You know.
Yeah. But aside from box office numbers, Sully and Nate are not the only Uncharted characters to make their appearance in this movie. Sony was like, we got to mix things up a bit. We want to move characters around in terms of when Nate encounters them in his life. Bam! Chloe Frazer, a fan favorite, one of my favorite characters in the series.
She's definitely fantastic. Top tier character. Yes.
100%. That's my love for Chloe Frazer from the games. Chloe Frazer in the movie, I thought she was fine. You know, she was like, would I say she played Chloe accurately? I mean, to an extent. I mean, she was really homing in on that distrust factor you mentioned with Nate and Sully. And that's like one of the, I guess that's the overall theme of the movie, trust. Right?
Yeah.
Because none of them trust each other, and it's the name of the business, right? Even on the villain side, which we haven't even talked about the villains yet, which we'll get into.
Right.
But no one trusts each other. No one, both on the villain and on the hero side. And I guess Chloe's supposed to represent that that canary, or I think that's the term, the canary in the ear.
Oh, I don't.
You never heard of that term? Oh, no. My God! I hope it's a canary that basically, it's supposed to be an analogy to, like, you know, like miners when they go underground and they go deeper and deeper, like into the mines. They have like a canary with them to like kind of give like a warning. I hope it's a canary that I'm using the right bird.
I have no idea what you're talking about, but I'm listening. I'm following.
But basically, you know, miners, because I think it's like the sulfur or something down there, like the odor, that if they breathe in too much of it, they can die. The canary can smell that odor much in advance, so the miners know, okay, we got to stop, we got to go back up, or we got to replan or remine, whatever. And then that became like the analogy, because the bird is telling you, hey, back up, watch out, you know, don't go any further. Chloe is supposed to be the canary for Tom, or I was gonna say Tom Holland, Nathan Drake.
Right.
Telling him, oh, did you know Sully? You shouldn't trust Sully. You shouldn't trust me either, but you really shouldn't trust Sully. And I don't know, like she was fine, but I don't know. Her adaptation of Chloe, and I mean, Chloe's really not that hard to hit either. You know, she's what, like a confident person, loves treasure hunting too.
I would say the thing that didn't work for me with her, Chloe, I forget the actress's name.
I think it's something Ali or
yes, Sophia Ali. Chloe's
right.
supposed to be kick-ass.
Ooh,
like
I
when
didn't get that. That's what I was missing.
That was the main element to Chloe, was that Chloe could kick Nate's ass, like, and you know, kick anybody's ass. Chloe was the ass kicker. That's what you know, we talk about finesse and like you know, the suave and the cool character. Chloe is that character. You know, Nate's the bumbling fool with the know-how. Chloe is the more of let's get shit done. And you know, yeah, right, you can't necessarily trust her all the time, but she gets shit moving and gets shit done. I didn't get that from her this movie. I'm not sure what I really got from her. Yeah, you can't trust her. She's just into this treasure too. But that's really it. She was just kind of running around with them. I don't know. She didn't really bring much to the table.
Right.
They missed the mark. They missed the mark with that, with Chloe. Chloe should have came in and started kicking Nate in the face.
Oh yeah, like flipping over him. Like
yes.
Chloe does that. Chloe
yes,
does that.
Yes, they missed it, man. They missed it. So I didn't have a good time watching her either. And you know, I'm not that picky video game adaptation guy, but if you're gonna bring in direct characters, you know, from the games, you have to meet certain check boxes. And if you don't, you might as well have just made a whole new character for us not to be mad at this, you know?
Right. And you know, to a degree, I think they did check box some aspects of the movie. They didn't do it with the characters, you know, but they did it with like, do we have an action set piece? Okay, check.
Right.
Do we have Nate shooting a gun? Okay, check. There's an aspect that was introduced, or not really introduced, but I really noticed it when Chloe was brought in to the film. The parkour elements
we talked about this, yes,
are terrible compared to the games. Mind you, this is coming from like a person that's played the games. I mean, GrandMasterHoop has played the games as well. He's played 1 through 4, all of them. I played 1 through 4. And one of the aspects of this game, of the game, and this is, again, this goes into the charm of Nathan Drake and why we like gravitate towards him. He has this Jackie Chan flair to him, right?
Oh, that's a good way to put it. Yeah.
And literally, and what about Jackie Chan, right? Jackie Chan, he knows how to fight, right? He knows how to fight, but he's so like bumbling with
He's
it,
a clown. He's a clown. Yes.
He uses the environment like it's like it's almost like an accidental fighting style, right? Like this guy is just going through the motions. Again, like, you know what the perfect comparison is? The Jackie Chan Adventures. Because what was he in that show? An archaeologist. Bumbling through the tombs. Oh, bad day. That is, oh my God, that was a much better Nathan Drake.
Oh, stop.
Oh my God. To a T, minus the martial arts part, but right. So one of the things that we like about Nathan Drake in the games is that whenever he thinks he has control of a situation, something bad happens, right? Like a building starts falling on top of him, or he's escaping like a ship that's sinking, and he's like running through and he's like tripping over himself, slipping on banana peels, a door like gonks him on the head or something, like because someone opens it. Like that is what's so cool about it, because he's just doing his best, right? This could be you or me running through a bazaar trying to chase someone, because we're not like spec ops athletes. We're not.
Yeah, right. We are not. Yes. Okay. Yes.
Like it's, to me, when and this is what I was getting at, when Nate is chasing Sully. I mean, not Sully. Chloe, when she nabs the key, the MacGuffin from Nate. That was one of the most boring chase sequences I've ever seen. And the reason why it's boring is because, you know what, I could have made it more exciting? Chloe starts running, right? She takes to the rooftops because she thinks that Nate and Sully can't follow her. Bam. Nate is trying to run up the stairs inside of a building to get to the rooftop. They start roof hopping, right? Nate jumps over from roof to roof, but he misses his cue to jump a little early or too late. And instead of landing on the next roof, he just crashes through like the window of another one.
Oh shit!
Oh shit! Oh no! Oh crap!
Yes.
And boom! Now he's running into all these like house residents, like, oh sorry, excuse me, sorry, oh no. And he's
dinner smells great, right? Yes.
We in the span of 20 seconds, we made a much more exciting choreographed chase sequence for this 2-minute long scene. I can't believe it. This is frustrating.
But that's the thing too. The way it culminated too. You're right. It was very short, and then it just ends with her getting in a car and him standing in front of the car.
Stop! What are you doing?
At that point, it's like, do we need to even chase her? Find her car and stand in front of it.
They were just running. That's it. Nate slipped on like a water fountain when they were walking.
And he fell in the water fountain. But
whoops.
Yeah, that is, and we talked about this last night. The parkour elements are supposed to be chaotic because, again, yes, he's a bumbling fool. He can't make certain jumps. He's gonna miss a ledge or two.
Or the ledge like breaks under him, like he grabs it and it he just has bad luck. It's shattered.
Yes,
and he falls.
yes. But then on top of it, everything else is so usually in chaos too when he's doing these parkour elements. The movie didn't give us any of that.
Nothing.
And then also, Tom Holland was not a bumbling fool. I swear he was doing certain poses when he was jumping and landing to make it seem like he was a professional at this. And I was taken aback again from the character because I was like, oh, he's kind of too good at this. The fact that he fell in the fountain doesn't even make sense to me now. Like, he should have caught her, no problem. And yeah, man, they missed it. Oh, it is frustrating to think because it's like the template was right there.
And the thing is, I'm not expecting like Hollywood blockbuster explosion moments every 10 minutes. Well, to a degree.
Well, I say because the games made it so cinematic.
Right.
When you use the adjective cinematic, it means you would see it in a movie.
Oh, oh my God. You're right. Oh my God. I didn't even see that. Wow.
So that's parkour. What did you think of like the other action elements? I would say probably the best sequence that felt what's the word, near and true to the games was the cargo plane.
Oh yeah, it was the advertised scene. For the film. And I think in terms of just getting the scene right, yeah, like I can like it was fine. It was fine, and that's my key word, fine. Fine. Yeah. Like it was okay, because even before that sequence where like the cargo plane drops all the boxes and now Nate's hanging for his life from down below. I was more worried about Nate during the video game because I was wondering, how is he gonna get out of this? Like this is a death experience right here. I guess the same question can be applied in the movie when he's hanging for his life. You're like, oh, how's he gonna get out of this? But I feel like it culminated into almost like a cartoon, almost, because the box sequence was cool. That adapted what the games did. He's hopping from box to box, fighting enemies along the way, and trying to make it back to the plane. Ultimately, he still falls out of the plane. But the way he falls out compared to the games, I don't know if you remember, but in the games, I think the plane blew up. I think like he was not, actually, no, it was right. The plane did blow up. That's why he had to jump out of it. Because you see the plane like going, doo, 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 doo. Actually, you know what? Right here, the background. That's the wreckage of the plane. That's the wreckage. So there was like, so even though Nate was hanging for his life, it still culminated in a sequence where he had to make his way back up to the plane, and there was chaos all around because he knows this plane might be his only ticket to land safely. But explosions happening everywhere, boom, 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 and then he has to jump out of the plane because it's on fire. It's gonna crash. That didn't happen here. We got the part where the cargo, he's climbing up the cargo, and then he gets to like, you know, the hatch, you know, in the back that opens for the plane, and then Chloe, Nate, and then the car hits him. Boom! He starts falling after that, right? This is the cartoon part I was talking about. Nate lands on the car of Chloe as he's falling, and they're just holding on to it like as if the pressure of falling shouldn't be sending them flying. I think Tom had like a Spider-Man pose when he was landing on the car. He was on the hood of the car. He was not moving.
He's too cool. He's too cool.
Too cool. And what does Chloe say? You don't have a parachute, Nate. Follow me. Boom.
Boom. Look at me. I'm an expert skydiver. Who would have thought?
Nate can't do that. Nate would be like bumbling in the air, like, oh.
I was like, okay, yeah, just follow. It's easier than I thought. Like, yeah.
You nailed it. You nailed it.
Yes.
That's literally what it is. That's what it was supposed to be. And I mean, again, checkbox. They know he has to fall out of the plane. They know he has to land on a box for like the parachute to, you know, like go down slowly, because that happened in the games. Nate got into like a box and he pulled the parachute on the box, and that's how he landed safely. But I mean, they got the set pieces. I say set piece because that was the one like set piece adaptation from the game, and then they kind of did their original one in the ending.
With the ending, with the ship and the helicopter.
Right. Which, I mean, do you want to talk about that set piece? Like,
I mean, we can, because, you know, we talked about. I mean, okay, so we under the helicopter came, scooped up both ships, right? There's two ships, right?
There was two ships.
Two ships. They're gonna steal all the gold, and they're fighting to, you know, like whatever, get away.
Right.
It was cool. The idea is cool. The idea feels very much in the realm of Uncharted. What we're getting, and again, I said it's the execution of crafting your own film and, you know, paying homage to the games that can be the reason why the movie doesn't work. I don't think they executed it right. Yes, they're fighting, they're going back and forth. But there was that sense of chaos that was lost. It was
chaos
too
control. I'm sorry.
Right. It was too controlled of chaos. Oh. You mean to tell me you can just pick up these ships and they're not gonna, with all this commotion going on, they're gonna bump into one another?
And it happened like once or twice, but the way they portrayed the chaos they wanted to elicit, it didn't match with what we were seeing on screen. Yes, the ships bumped into each other like once or twice, but you know, in an Uncharted game, it would be boom, 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 like all like, you know, like it would be like a Looney Tune like scuffle, you know, like, you know, all the characters like going over like into that ball like, of chaos.
One of the hooks might drop off, and so now the ship is tilted.
Oh, it's dangling to, oh my god.
Right, and now they're
that would have been so cool.
Again,
we're writing a better film.
It's just like, oh man, it's like, oh man, this is really cool. But the games do a thing where they take it to the next level. You know, it's like, sure, Drake's in an abandoned train. Oh yeah, why don't we put this abandoned train on the edge of the Himalayas, about to fall off, and now he's climbing the seats.
Oh my God.
Vertically.
Beautiful opening cinematic. Oh
exactly.
Man.
It's like the games are more cinematic than the cinematic adaptation. Like with 120 mil as your budget, your scope should have been so huge. You should have been like, how do we make this better? How do we go over the top with this? How do we make this the most extreme? And they just played it safe. They played it safe.
Ooh, that's the word.
That's the word.
That's the word. They played it safe. Yeah, I mean, that ending sequence, I liked the originality of it because it kind of meshed in elements of Uncharted 4 and Uncharted 1. Uncharted 4 being the whole thing about the ship and the treasure. That's Uncharted 4. And then with Uncharted 1, this wasn't like a big segment or a segment at all, but in Uncharted 1, they were hunting for El Dorado, and they found out El Dorado wasn't a city. It was a statue made of pure gold, like a giant statue. And a helicopter came in, picked it up, and the helicopter was going all the way to like a ship in the ocean to like drop it off. So you mix that together, the ship, the helicopter taking the treasure from like a location in the jungle or wherever, and then you have the sequence that we got here, which is fine. I'm fine with that, but it's just I saw segments where I'm like, okay, like Nate is fighting these goons. They're hopping onto the ship, which they at least got that right? Like the goons feel like cockroaches that just never, like, you do not pay me enough to hop from a ship to another ship mid-fly in between helicopters. Like there's no way they're getting paid enough for this, but that's Uncharted. They do that in Uncharted, so I don't know if that was intentional or not, but they got that part right. Part right. So like, yeah, like they're fighting on the ship, and there's a little bit of chaos where they're smashing a little bit into each other, but it was too safe. I never once felt like Nate didn't have control of the situation. It's
right. You're supposed to feel a sense of, Nate doesn't have control of the situation. You're supposed to feel that fear with him. Right.
And I mean, I feel it. It's what's the oh my God, his name is escaping me. The actor that plays Nathan Drake.
Nolan North.
I keep thinking Nathan Fillion. I
know it's very they've done a commercial together too, Nathan Fillion and Nolan North.
They did.
Right.
Oh my God.
Yeah, so it's very easy to mix the two. Yes.
Nolan, I mean, that just goes to show how Nolan North portrays the character of Nathan Drake and how much he nailed what we love about him. Which, speaking of, that's probably the one extreme positive I had about the movie. Nolan North.
The cameo.
I did not expect that. I really enjoyed it. It was what happens.
The ridiculousness of they just happen upon a resort.
Right, from the ocean. They're like, Nate, do you see that over there? Am I imagining things? I guess not.
They walk up. I don't even know what he says. What does he say to them? He's like, he said something cheeky or whatever. Like where did you guys come from? He said something very Drake-like. I was like, oh my gosh, it's Drake.
He said something Drake-like. I know what his response was, because whatever he said to them, Tom Holland responded by saying, we fell out of a plane in the ocean, or something like that. We fell out of a plane in the middle of the sky. And then Nolan North said, oh yeah, I did that once before too.
There you go. Okay, right.
or is it something like that? He acknowledged it. I'm like, oh my God, it's Nathan Drake.
I was like, that delivery, I was like, Tom Holland, you're supposed to be that delivery with like everything.
Oh my God. frustrating.
It was a very nice cameo though.
It was
nice. For the fans, it was very nice. I'm sure the fans, I mean, if you're listening right now, I hope you watch the film.
I hope so.
I would think,
or maybe they don't want to watch the film because they know it might be a bad movie, so they're watching the pod to be like, okay, what did I miss? Am I gonna waste money for this?
Right. But yes, that cameo, go look it up. It's enjoyable for Uncharted fans.
Right. And there was a couple like Easter eggs here. Well,
there were.
The only other Easter egg I can remember is the Naughty Dog logo.
What was it? A sticker. It's very brief.
A sticker. Very, very brief. Just like, oh, okay, yeah, this is.
And in the world of Uncharted, Naughty Dog is a thing because he plays Crash Bandicoot.
Right.
In Uncharted 4.
Oh yeah, so it's not really out of place either.
It's not out of place.
He could just be a Naughty Dog fan. Maybe he likes. Maybe, and if we get a sequel, he'll be playing Jack and Daxter.
Oh, very much. Could
possible.
Be. Could be right.
Very meta. But yeah. What like? How does the movie resolve? Like it basically, what they So no, it does pay homage a little bit to Uncharted 1 again, where it does it twice, where basically Nate learns to trust Sully by the end of it because they're actually, you know what? Wait, I might be jumping ahead of the game. The villains.
Okay.
We have not talked about the villains.
We have not.
Right. I don't. There's Antonio Banderas, right?
Yes.
I don't know what his villain name is. I think his name is.
I think it's Moncada.
Okay.
If I remember correctly, kind of just there.
Do you remember? Do you know what his plot was? Like he wanted to find his family's treasure. Like that's been generations of.
His father was the captain that took over after Magellan died. So
his descendant of
right.
Of
so he's
family.
saying that was his birthright. And see, he's an original character for the films,
right?
But I honestly don't think they didn't know what they wanted to do with him because they were building up his backstory. He has this, not so great relationship with his father, who Antonio.
They could have done a lot with that. Oh,
right. Well, I mean, but they were building it as if they were going to, and then they kill his father,
right?
Very early, but then they kill him too, fairly early. And it's like, what's the point? What was the point? Why even add him as a character? Why build up this plot with him and his dad? If you're just going to kill him too, what does that resolve? That doesn't resolve anything.
Nothing about his legacy or him coming to terms with the money has blood on it. You know what I mean? You're right. What was the point? What was the point of showing me their family history, these moments with the older dad and the son, and them having a back and forth about, it's my birthright. Dad. I gave him a British accent.
Damn, why did
I don't know why.
He said, "It is my birthright, padre."
It is my birthright.
You kept saying padre the whole time.
Padre, he's my padre. It's just, I don't know, man. It was a waste of time. And just for the younger, more attractive. This is also a new character, but I don't remember her name. Do you remember her name? Odik?
Crap, dang it. Braddock. Joe Braddock.
Brand new character, not in the games before. However, heavily inspired, almost to a T, by Nadine from Uncharted 4.
She's a mercenary.
Yep.
She's villainous. Yes.
She's black. She's black.
It screams Nadine. Yeah.
It's just, and literally that, again, we keep making comparisons to the games and what they pay homage to. That scene at the auction house in the very beginning, pulled straight from Uncharted 4, but literally Nadine's introduction is the same way this new character is introduced. She's introduced as this very attractive woman, that she has a relationship with Sully, both in the movie and in the game. They know each other, and you don't know what her deal is. You don't know what she can do. And then, as the plot progresses, auction house breaks into chaos, and then you get a scene where Nadine, or in this case, you said Braddock? Braddock shows her sleeves. She's very agile and knows how to fight. She's a combat expert, which again, this time they kind of showcased it with her fighting a bunch of no-name guards like in the background. Whereas
oh man,
that was lame. Because mind you, this is the first time we're seeing her fight. This is our first time seeing her fight. Compare that to the games where we get introduced to Nadine pinning Nate Drake, and we're like, oh, okay, she knows how to lock a joint. That doesn't mean she knows how to fight. And so Nate is like having this back and forth with her, saying, "Oh man, you're bending my wrist. We're only on our second date, Nadine." It's just the dumb stuff. It's dumb stuff that he says. And then she starts kicking his ass. And oh man, dude, I don't know. They clearly drew inspiration from Nadine, but they did not again understand what made Nadine a badass. Again, checkbox, right?
Right. And also I don't really get her whole stint and why she wanted this treasure and why she had to betray
money. We want money. I'm a mercenary. We want money.
It's all about the money. Right. It missed the mark. It was just like, we need an antagonist to have an antagonist. And it was just a very generic one at that.
At what point do you stop doing the whole mercenary shtick when you realize you're almost out of your league? Because that was part of Nadine's character too in Uncharted 4. She was working for, I don't remember the villain's name, but she was working for the main villain, and the villain was paying her, because she's a mercenary. But the scales got tipped so high, Nadine was questioning, I don't think we're getting paid enough to do some of the stuff you want me to do, and you're treating me like a piece of shit. So I don't know if I want to be around this anymore. And she eventually leaves. She just leaves. She's like, I'm not doing this. I'm not doing this anymore. Compared to Braddock, she just kills Antonio Banderas, and she's like, oh, we're going all in. Oh, that sequence with the ships flying in the sky, I'm gonna hop onto the ship as well, and I'm gonna battle Nate Drake, and I'm just gonna do all these backflips and jumps and everything. I don't know, man. I just
wasn't sold. Was not sold.
And that's the sum of its parts. That's the summary of the movie. I mean, there's the parts where they're figuring out the puzzle elements. I think we even told each other this coming out of the theater, but I was bored.
Yes.
In the parts where they're figuring out where to go next or what's the next clue. I looked at my watch. It's only been 40 damn minutes. And I'm like, ugh.
Yeah, I don't know, man. When you have a video game that is as cinematic as Uncharted, the transition to film should be a lot better than what we were given here. It makes me believe, and I hate to say this, that this dude, Ruben Fleischer, pulled an M. Night Shyamalan where he claims to have played the source material or watched the source material. Right. But then it was more like you were doing other things while watching the source material, to where again you made a checkbox, but you really didn't deep dive that box. Right. It was like it's the checkbox, but you don't know why it's a checkbox. Right. I'll say this. We summarized the film. I think you have something here. You just need to tweak it and make it better.
I know this can be done well. I know this can.
Yes.
Like, we've been talking for at least an hour, and we just spitballed random ideas for scenes and just small segments, and I got excited just thinking about imagining those scenes, like Nate running on the rooftops, crashing through like a window, just some
craziness,
really,
just some craziness.
That's the word, craziness.
And Tom Holland and Mark Wahlberg, as much as we said about them, I never said they were incapable. They're not incapable,
right,
of better portraying these characters. They can. They might need to study up some more,
just a bit,
and they can do it. They have the chops. They are not unenjoyable to watch. But looking as a fan of the series, you will not be without critique.
Right.
But they can do it. They just need to do it.
They just need to do it. I literally, it's just that. I mean, I did look up whether or not a sequel or a franchise is in the works, and they did say they have they have an idea of what they want to do for a sequel, but that is only premised on how well this movie does.
Oof.
And with the ending, they hinted a lot about Uncharted 1. Like, even though the movie's playing, homage to all the Uncharted games, they seem to pay a lot of homage to Uncharted 1 at the very end, where Nate is talking with this eye patch character, and the eye patch character is like, I forgot who he said. The eye patch character said, "Now you're gonna tell me why someone like you is interested," and I think he said a Nazi map, like a map used by the Nazis, and then he mentioned a name. I can't remember the name.
I can't remember the name either. I can't remember the name.
He mentioned the name Roman. He said, now you're gonna tell me like why my employer Roman should be interested in you. Roman is the main villain in Uncharted 1 before the pirate or mercenary he hired betrays him, and kind of like this movie a little bit in Uncharted 4, but whatever. But yeah, Roman, they dropped a name. They seem to be going to like an Uncharted 1 territory, and Sully got his stash. I wouldn't say it's his signature stash because it's not thick enough. It's not thick.
Oh, it's coming in. It's coming in,
but it needs to be thick, and Sully's mustache is thick. But we'll see. I mean, it's like you said. I see the potential for this to be a franchise. Nate and Sully, or Tom Holland and Mark Wahlberg, they have the potential to bring these characters the way that we see them in the video games. Maybe the first movie is kind of like the pilot, right? It's the pilot. Like with Uncharted 1. Uncharted 1 was okay, but that's not what made me a fan of the series.
You know what? Maybe they purposely made this first movie so jarring. Like the games, the second one will be leagues better than the first.
It's a meta reference.
Okay. It might get Game of the Year. It might get Movie of the Year.
Ooh.
If they're really following in the footsteps of the games.
Interesting.
That's very optimistic thinking right there.
That is very, very. I mean, I feel like we covered everything, almost everything at least. So, the heavy parts of the movie. The last thing I think you could even say is, what score would you give it out of 10? I could tell you coming out of the theater, I was a little bit optimistic, thinking like, oh yeah, this movie's a solid 7, a good 7. On the ride back home, I got more pessimistic with the movie because I started thinking about the movie, and I'm like, this movie was terrible. like it wasn't like garbage dumpster fire, like, oh my god, the characters don't work, the writing's terrible in some instances, but honestly, in its best moments, for me at least, in its best moments, it's a 6. It's a 6 out of 10.
Yeah.
And I feel like I'm generous with a 6 because you know you have the action, you have the dialogue from the games, but it's not really adapted from the games because it doesn't have the charm, it doesn't have the chaos. Like you said, it doesn't have the cinematic flair of those properties. I think a 6 is the cap I can give this, and that's just me being generous because I love the games, I love the characters, and this was such an easy copy and paste type of job to do for like just that alone with this movie, and they missed it. They missed it for me. But what score would you give Uncharted 2022?
It's a 6. Again, with an adaptation, it's not the worst adaptation. There are worse adaptations out there.
There's a lot,
but certain check boxes I want to see as a fan of the original need to be met, but also there needs to be enough originality. And like I said earlier, they didn't execute either one to its fullest effect, and therefore the experience itself, I'd rather just play the video games, you know.
I kind of want to go back and just play the video game.
I kind of do too, but I have people who constantly judge me for playing games and not new games, old games and not playing new games.
I wonder who that is.
I wonder who. So let me not go back to playing these games, these great works of art.
They're fantastic in their
minus
own way.
Minus the first one.
Minus the first one.
But yes, a 6 is also generous because just I hope it makes enough money because I would probably enjoy watching a sequel, just improve upon what needs to be improved upon. And I can see it working. But this one ain't it.
This ain't it. But yeah, I mean, we summarized the plot, the villains, the characters. I think that's all we have to say about the movie. We'll cross our fingers. Let's see if they get greenlit for a sequel. Again, just based off of box office numbers and critical reception, I don't know how this is gonna be. Numbers aren't looking too good, and the reviews, and usually they don't go off of these type of reviews, but like critics are panning this movie like in the 30% range. Ooh. And yeah, it's bad. It's bad. And actually, I kind of want to see an updated score really quick, because I think the last time I checked, Uncharted was okay. So critic wise, it's at a 40%, and the score actually went up. This is bananas, man. This is banana. The score went up since the last time I saw it. It was like 88 or 87, 89. It's at 90% audience rating. Yes.
Interesting.
The fans are seeing something that you and I clearly are not seeing.
Are we the outliers? Are we the outliers?
Where are the hot takes? Where are the hot takes for this movie?
Okay, fine. I'll gladly be a hot take. I think I know what I'm talking about.
I think
dissecting this. Yeah, I think we know what we're talking about. Like, I don't think we're absurd at all, but that's fine. I'm about to take this to Twitter. I'm about to go in on some folks.
please, because some folks, and I think we know who, need to be called out.
Sure. Yes, they do.
Blasphemy.
Yes, they do.
But that sums up our thoughts at the Yonko Table for Uncharted 2022. Let us know what you guys think about this movie. If you're gonna go see it, if you're kind of worried about going to see it just based on if you got this far into the pod and you're wondering, oh man, they kind of ripped it apart. Should I go see it or not? I think it's worth a watch just to see an Uncharted movie, right? Just to see like, okay, that's Nate Drake, that's Sully, that's Chloe Frazier, and that's it. Go and watch it. Maybe you guys might see something that we're not seeing, but I feel like we know what we're talking about when we want certain things. And
we are not experts, but we are fans. We're fans, okay?
We are fans. But let us know what you think. If you enjoyed what we had to say, share us around. We're on all social media platforms: Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, YouTube, at the Yonko Table. And yeah, we're interested and intrigued to see what you guys have to say about all of this. But yeah, with that all said, the Yonko Table's closing out for today with Uncharted. I'm your Yonko host, DrJaceAttorney, and fellow Yonko GrandMasterHoop, signing off, guys, and take care.